And in breaking news, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The arrest relates to Andrew's links with convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, follows the release of millions of documents from the Epstein files last month. British police have carried out searches at a number of addresses in England, including the former Prince's home at Sandringham. The arrest has been made on what is Andrew's 66th birthday. Here's what the Prime Minister Keir Starmer had to say just hours before the news of the arrest broke.
One of the core principles in our system is that everybody is equal under the law and nobody is above the law.
Now, the King didn't know what was happening before the arrest was made, was only apparently told afterwards. Here's a statement from him. He says, the police have the royal family's full support and cooperation, adding, "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course." We cross live now to Windsor, where we're joined by royal correspondent Gavin Grey. Gavin, thank you for joining us. Do you know at this stage exactly where Andrew is?
No, they're not saying, Ryan, but I strongly suspect it'll be probably London, although, of course, he was arrested at his home in Norfolk at Sandringham at the King's private estate. I think what's really interesting about this is the police would have had the option of getting in touch with him and saying, can you present yourself to the police station to answer some questions? And, of course, that could have been done without the media knowing. Instead, they have arrested him. There were obviously cameras, interest outside. There were photos taken. We haven't seen him under arrest, as it were. But it seems, therefore, very odd. The Home Office, we're being told, the department of the government responsible for the police, they apparently did know of the arrest before it happened. Apparently, as you say there, King Charles did not. This is absolutely unprecedented in modern times. I've been reporting on the royals for some 35 years, and I have never ever known anything like it.
So, why did they do this so publicly? Was it because there is a desire amongst members of the public to have some accountability of some kind? Or, as was suggested to me this morning, is it that he actually could have been a flight risk, that you wouldn't want to tap him on the shoulder and ask him to come in? The King of Spain went to the Middle East when the police pressure came on him. Is that a possibility here?
I think that would have been unlikely, but who knows under the stress of these things. But I think the main reason is that they wanted to show, as in the King's message, that everybody is treated equally under the law. If it had materialized that they'd, as you said, give him a tap on the shoulder, had a cup of coffee with him and not actually arrested him, that might have portrayed a very different picture. And Ryan, I think there are another couple of things at play here. What's going to be absolutely fascinating is if he is charged with anything. Of course, it is the Crown Prosecution Service that does it. In other words, the King will be prosecuting his own brother. Prince Andrew, or as he was Prince Andrew, is still 8th in line to the throne. That seems like that's going to certainly be hauled and changed now. But also, of course, he remains this absolute thorn, I think, in King Charles's side. I joked at one time that King Charles had been the oldest apprentice in history, waiting so long to take over from Her Majesty, somebody who was incredibly popular. And it looks like his reign is going to be dominated by his younger brother.
Do you think what the King has done, because he's clearly been trying to distance himself from his brother, he's been saying, happy to cooperate with the police. In this statement, he says, justice must run its course, etc. Do you think he's done enough to kind of insulate the royal family and cauterise this from Andrew?
Well, I think everything he tries to do to cauterise it just doesn't seem to succeed, because the story just keeps getting bigger and bigger. From my calculation, some 6 different police forces around the UK are currently investing claims about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. 6. And these particular ones today, which led to the arrest, are claims and allegations that he effectively might have conducted what's called misconduct in public office. Now, what that means is effectively that he was sharing confidential information. What do they mean by that? Well, of course, Andrew had this bizarre title of the trade envoy, but it wasn't a position that had been given to him in a job interview as such. He kind of just had it. And there were questions asked at the time, Ryan, about, well, is this an official job or is it an unofficial job? And what sway does he have? Well, we do now know that he was getting official documents. And of course, the allegations are from the Epstein files that he was then handing that information on to people like Jeffrey Epstein, the late disgraced financier, who no doubt could have made substantial sums of money from that information. And that, I think, is what has led to this arrest. But let me just remember to say to you, of course, that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor denies any wrongdoing.
Gavin, appreciate the update, appreciate your time this morning. Gavin Grey, our royal correspondent in Windsor.